Good morning. It's June 19th, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. Archaeologists have uncovered a 5,000-year-old site near Bulford that may be an early prototype for Stonehenge's solstice landscape. The discovery centers on two wooden posts set about 120 meters apart, aligned with the rising sun at the summer solstice and the setting sun at the winter solstice, suggesting a ritual focus on solar events. Artifacts recovered include pottery, animal bones, and a rare disc-shaped knife, indicating the area could have been a major religious gathering point. Full publication and peer review are forthcoming to solidify the interpretation, and some specialists remain skeptical that two posts prove intentional alignment. Others note that such arrangements were not unusual for the period. BBC News highlighted the discovery on Instagram, directing readers to a link for more, with photos credited to PA and Getty. English heritage and researchers say the find deepens understanding of Stonehenge's context without altering the monument's overall timeline. The Bulford site sits on MOD housing land and is not publicly accessible, with one post pit likely under a private residence and another in a public recreation area. MOD land restrictions keep the site largely off-limits, and at least one post pit may be under private ownership. The excavation area is tied to MOD housing near a military site, reflecting how British defence land was used at the time. The work at Bulford is connected to the Ministry of Defence's program related to troop withdrawals from Germany, with Bulford hosting a nearby barracks. Led by archaeologist Phil Harding, the dig ran from 2015 to 2017, with years of analysis afterward guiding current conclusions. NASA has selected Relativity Space to develop and launch the Aeolus Mars orbiter, using 4 NASA-built instruments to study Martian weather, dust, wind, and clouds, with a target launch in year 2028. Aeolus represents a collaborative, high-stakes effort aligned with NASA's push toward commercial partnerships and aims to improve future landing safety and build usable models of Martian weather and climate. The mission seeks to reduce risks for both crewed and uncrewed Mars missions by delivering data-driven weather and climate models. Experts point to risks from Relativity Space's limited orbital flight history, in contrast with established players, though backing from Eric Schmidt could boost competitiveness and expand in space data ambitions. Relativity Space relies on 3D printing to cut costs and speed production, even as the company has faced setbacks such as the 2023 Terran 1 failure and ongoing questions about Terran R readiness. Schmidt's broader interests in orbital data centers and the Lazuli Space Telescope suggest ambitions beyond Aeolus beyond the immediate mission. The venture illustrates NASA's increasing use of public-private partnerships, a model under scrutiny for risk, budgets, and mission assurance practices. NASA administrator praised the collaboration as a potential blueprint for privately funded philanthropic space efforts and for delivering more science faster. If Aeolus succeeds, Relativity Space could emerge as a major player in space data collection and future space-based data infrastructure. NASA officials will discuss the collaboration and industry challenges at the Potomac Officers Club's 2026 Air and Space Summit, with high-ranking NASA leadership in attendance. Risks include Relativity Space's lack of orbital flight history and potential financial or technical setbacks. Funding details are partly undisclosed, with philanthropic support cited. The contract is an early reimbursable Space Act agreement under NASA's public-private framework, with value not disclosed but comparable to other NASA commercial payload deals. A new fossil study upends the long-held view of how vertebrates first moved onto land, suggesting the earliest land dwellers did not arise from amphibian-like ancestors with tadpoles. Researchers analyzed 2 small embryo embolomeras from Mason Creek in Illinois and identified them as early tetrapod hatchlings that show no tadpole-like metamorphosis. The hatchlings lack external gills and other metamorphosis indicators, effectively challenging the idea of an ancestral larval phase typical of amphibians. Citizen scientists and amateur collectors contributed to the discovery, with non-professional donations helping build the dataset for the study. The project highlights how citizen science and collaboration with multiple institutions and volunteers can advance paleontological research. The article also calls for exploration of Australia's fossil frontier, citing a fossil hunting expedition in the outback to uncover more about Earth's ancient history. Science advances by confronting questions when new evidence upends established concepts rather than presenting final answers. Findings rely on Mason Creek fossils and the collaboration with the Field Museum and the Canadian Museum of Nature, underscoring the importance of fossil evidence in reassessing theories. The study's implications extend to our understanding of vertebrate evolution, showing that discoveries outside the lab can reshape scientific narratives. Scanning electron microscopy helped confirm the embryo status at the Canadian Museum of Nature. The discoveries center on tiny embryos preserved in ironstone nodules at Mason Creek, preserving delicate juvenile features often lost to decay. The fossils offer rare, well-preserved views of early tetrapod life, including preserved eyes, skin, and color patterns beyond skeletal remains. A new approach uses satellite remote sensing combined with computer modeling to study global river water quality, enabling both global surveillance and river-specific analyses that reflect diverse climates, environments, and human impacts. This method aims to monitor rivers in real time and identify nutrient influxes that trigger harmful algal blooms, allowing water managers to anticipate treatment challenges before they arise. Eutrophication from nutrient over-enrichment leads to algal blooms, reduced light for aquatic plants, decomposition, and potentially dead zones and fish die-offs. Nutrient pollution affects a substantial portion of U.S. rivers and has global relevance for protecting drinking water and aquatic ecosystems, with toxic cyanobacteria posing health risks and driving expensive multi-step water treatment. Feng Dongmei has received NSF and NASA grants to study river nutrient dynamics and develop an early warning system for toxic algal blooms affecting drinking water, while researchers track nutrient transport from rivers to estuaries and oceans to better understand ecosystem health. The project includes collaboration with the Greater Cincinnati Water Works to implement an early warning system for the Ohio River to protect drinking water sources, illustrating practical deployment. This integrated approach could support smarter water management and protection of drinking water sources for cities worldwide, and it builds on 5 decades of global river data to develop early warning systems for managers before blooms occur. Rivers are vital for drinking water and urban populations, with 90% of the world's people living within 6 miles of a river, underscoring their long-term importance and the challenges of study due to variability and accessibility. Nature Water papers discuss mitigating risks from nutrient pollution and algal blooms through satellite data and modeling, signaling a shift toward global river science. Japan has approved Sarclisa subcutaneous in combination regimens for relapsed or refractory multiple myeloma and newly diagnosed cases, expanding options beyond intravenous delivery. This marks the second global approval for the SC formulation after the European Union, with Circlic on-body injector submission in Japan still under review. Approval is supported by Heraclea Phase 3 data showing non-inferiority of SC to intravenous in efficacy and pharmacokinetics, with a favorable safety profile. In Heraclea, the most common grade 3 plus non-hematologic adverse events were pneumonia and COVID-19, while neutropenia, thrombocytopenia, and anemia were the leading hematologic events. Infusion reactions were notably reduced with SC. SC administration markedly reduces infusion reactions to about 1.5% versus 25% with intravenous, with minimal local injection site events, 0.4%, mostly grade 1. The report notes Market Screener's publication date as June 19, 2026. Other market notes include Santander's first quarter 2026 earnings beat, a $1.5 billion Tier 1 preferred issue, Webster Financial's takeover proposal approval, and risk transfer plans for a €500 million BNPL portfolio from Openbank. Heraclea is a randomized open-label Phase 3 trial, NCT 05405166, assessing primary outcomes of overall response rate and trough concentration at steady state. The article also mentions that the piece was AI-assisted and editor-reviewed, and that Enable Injections is developing the NFUS-E on-body delivery system to automate SC Sarclisa delivery, aiming to lessen treatment burden and improve convenience. This has been your Daily Brief in Science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. We'll be back Monday with everything you need to know.